Good evening, everyone. I want to welcome you to the Journey of a Man with your host, Dre Jordan. I got a really special guest today. I'm going to take you on a journey with him.
You're broken down and tired of living life on a merry-go-round, and you can't find the fighter. I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out and move mountains. We gon' walk it out and move mountains. And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day, and I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid, and I'll rise up.
Hey Curtis, it's Daryl and Renee. Hey bro, we just wanted to give you a special shout out. You're a great guy. We knew you were the one when you said that's our family now. I appreciate you stepping in and doing everything you do for Monica.
Thank you so much for loving my best friend the way that you do. One of the things I respect the most about you is your commitment to family. I just love you. I do. And I appreciate everything that you have done, all the love you have given Monica. You have made all of her dreams come true, and we love you for it. We love you.
Love you, Curtis. Bye, man.
One thing I respect most about CMFD, my dad, Curtis Daniels, okay, is that he always says exactly what is on his mind. And we can talk it out, we can reason. One thing I admire about my dad is that he 99 them folks. He know what I'm talking about. And was in the paper, okay? So definitely creative, definitely go-getter, definitely resilient, even when his ankles ain't doing too good. My mama get in there and do what she needs to do on his ankles, and then he's back at it again the next day. And that's what I admire most about my dad. Enjoy your tribute. Get your flowers while you're here. You deserve it. And lots of love from ATL. Bye. Love you.
Hi everybody, I'm Dominique. My dad, as everybody knows, is William Curtis Daniels. Talking about him is very emotional because over the years of my life, he's always been there, no matter what. Through ups and downs, bad times, whatever. And one thing I can say about him is that, look, I'm crying already. One thing I can say about him is loyal, passionate, and the biggest hustler that I ever know. He's taught me everything from, I don't even know. I can't explain. He's just taught me everything when it comes to life, period, in general. God, he's taught me everything in life. Just everything. Dealing with people, how people are going to mistreat you, how people are going to love you and leave you and here. And he's my biggest support system. He was there for every volleyball game. Sleep, even though he might have been asleep, but he was there. And I used to have trouble in high school with females because I just didn't understand why they didn't like me, or they didn't. Every time I would turn around, my dad would be there. They would have an attitude. And as time got older and I talked to, now that I'm a woman now and I talk to older women, I realized a lot of females didn't like me because they didn't have a dad like my dad. They didn't never had that type of support system from a male figure. And I just want to say I'm grateful for having him. Even though my mother was not in my life, and for him to take up that responsibility to take care of a child by himself is amazing to me. Because me being 30 years old, I have yet to see it done by somebody else. Him taking care of me, working 2 full-time jobs, making sure he was at every volleyball game, didn't miss anything. Not even volleyball, basketball, tennis, soccer, whatever you want to do, I did it all. And I'm very appreciative of him. And as you can say, every time I talk about him, I get emotional. All my friends love him. They call him Dad. Even though the times that we had not have been good times, and we have great times also, but gosh, he was hard on me. And it's like, I'm very appreciative of that, because I wouldn't be who I am today. Sorry. He's an amazing grandfather. So I just want to say that I love you, Dad, and I love the hell out of you, and I will always love the hell out of you. And I just want to thank you for turning me into the woman that I am today. And I love you.
Okay, so this is Tanya Spry. What do I admire most about Curtis Daniels is his growth. We've had an up and down friendship that developed into a solid foundation for Dominique, and now, due to Monica, we have developed an even closer friendship, one that I would say we call as our tribe. I admire his ability to grow. I admire his ability to be flexible, admit when he's wrong, but he's always open to try new things, and will tell you what's on his mind, actually. And I admire that about him. I admire his growth and exposure and openness to love my family, to love my extended family, my husband, and even the rest of our tribe, as if we're his own family. What do I respect most about him is the absolute love of his family, his daughter, his daughters, his son, his grandchildren, that coming from a place with a small family. That was one of the conversations that we had years ago about his small family and his desire for more, and he's teaching his family more. And for that, you can only respect and love him, from a place from where he came, to the growth that he's exhibited, to his stability to be the rock for his family, and his just desire to have fun, no stress, and be respected. And for that, we love you, Curtis.
Daniels married to William Curtis Daniels. Some know him as Curtis, some know him as William. A lot of people know him as Bow-Legged Curtis. Very few people don't know my husband. I was fortunate enough to not know my husband, and when I met him, he was shocked that I didn't know who he was. I was shocked he didn't know who I was. But we've been together almost 12 years now, and it's been quite the journey. My husband is a real man. He means what he says what he means, he follows through on every promise. I've never met a more protective man, I've never met a more committed man, a more dedicated man. He fills in all my rough spots and he makes me whole. To be loved by Curtis Daniels is something incredible, and his friends and family all know if he's with you, he's with you. He tells you what he thinks and he says how he feels, and that's pretty much it. So with Curtis, you get what you get. You get what you see, and you see the truth. He is the truth. He is everything to me. So this tribute is more than fitting. He deserves this and more. And thank you so much for caring about my guy, my husband, I mean, William Daniels. That's my darling.
Wow, Curtis, that was amazing. Amazing tribute to you. Yeah, it'll make you tear up for sure. One thing as men, man, we not afraid to show our emotions nowadays. Just don't take us for granted, as we say, right?
Right. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah, don't get it twisted, my man.
Right,
Well, I'd like
right.
to welcome Curtis. Welcome Curtis Daniel, as Monica befittingly said. Everybody know you as Bowleg Kurt. uh Killer crossover Kurt. I gotta admit that he told me to put the killer part in there, right? Killer
Yeah.
crossover Kurt. CMFD. We're gonna keep that PG-13 for right now. Right. They call him Kurt Bone. Kurt is a Washingtonian who grew up in Northeast DC, attended Langley Middle Eastern High School, and attended some a stint in college. Kurt is a close friend of mine. We grew up together, played ball together, worked together as we formed an unbreakable bond. Growing up in the DC area, single father, Kurt has had many obstacles in life that he has overcome to become the man he is today. Kurt, the reason why I got you on, brother, because you got a hell of a story. But before we get started, little background on this podcast. The Journey of a Man podcast was created for men to talk about our journey in life, which ultimately determines who we are or will become. This podcast, the obstacles we face are real and often will derail us from our desired destination. This podcast gives us a platform to express ourselves about our journey we have experienced, our upbringing, relationships, marriages, fatherhood, careers, finances, our spiritual walk, divorce, co-parenting, and hopefully bridging our support for one another while respecting/uplifting other men and women. The trajectory for men must change, and we can create a pathway to success, brother. You and I. It got to start with us for sure. And
Right.
most definitely, what I have seen in your journey, because I walked through your journey just like you have mine. We
Right.
have deep details about ourselves.
Right.
So I want to start with you, man, and just tell me about your relationship, where you grew up, how you grew up. I know you grew up in a your grandmother raised you.
Right.
Just tell me, just walk us through your life, man, and so we can feel what you've gone through and experience what you've gone through and the different areas in your life that has changed you and has changed your trajectory in life, because it
Right.
was most definitely some things that changed your process and your thinking to say,
Right.
I got to get this right for whomever. And we all know
Right.
who that was.
That's right.
Just a little background. We all know who that was for. When
Right.
I remember the day when you had Dominique on your back and you ain't had nowhere to live because you had a
Right.
falling out. And I said, man, come on, live with me. You said, nah, I got this, champ. And
Right.
I remember you walking away with Dominique on your back with no way to live. And
Right.
you most definitely have figured it out, figured life out.
Yeah.
And even when I hear you now talking about God, before we get started, let us give thanks to God, man, for protecting us along the way and blessing us
Yep.
even through our missteps and forgiving us for our trespasses and our sins. Because without God, we wouldn't be where we are today, for sure.
No will. Will
All
not
right.
be at all. Yep.
Absolutely.
Yes,
So
sir.
let me give you the platform, man. Just tell me about your life, Kurt. And of course, we're gonna dig right on in, man, because we got some things to talk about for sure.
Uh, Let me I'm gonna start when I was born. I was born in D.C. My mother had me when she was 17. Uh, we used to live on Claggett Pace over by Benning Road.
Mm-hmm.
When we living on Claggett Pace, we ended up moving over by Kearney Street, off of Monroe Street. Living over there, but then I was living over with my mother when I was younger, when I was in the first kindergarten and the first grade. I was living with her over by Trinidad at an apartment over there. But I ended up getting with my grandmother because my mom, she was on drugs real bad.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it was times that, man, I didn't eat. I come home and, my mother high on drugs. I got to sit outside in the tree till 8 o'clock at night until she get up because I'm banging on the door. You know what I mean? So actually, that was a real traumatizing year for me because actually I stayed back in the first grade and it was basically on school attendance. So that's how I end up with my grandmother. My grandmother came and got me and said, "No, you gonna stay with me." So I stayed with my grandmother. Ended up going to Slow Elementary School. Really enjoyed the school. A lot of friends, Benny Nesbitt, Jeff Nesbitt, Delonte Taylor, all of us around the way. We took up basketball. We did basketball real well when we was younger. And then after leaving Slow Elementary School, when I was under Coach Mac Leash, the Big Mac now that he is, he was a little penny tame back then. He's Big Mac now.
Yeah.
When we won them 3 championships back to back to back,
Mm-hmm.
got him to start back then.
Mm-hmm.
And then actually we was recruited by the coaches from Langley Junior High School over by McKinley Tech.
Mm-hmm.
So they actually came to our elementary school and set us down and said, "Man, we want you a part of our organization."
Mm-hmm.
So we've been recruited in elementary school.
Mm-hmm.
Me, Bobo, Gino,
Mm-hmm.
Peanut, Big Trent. We thought we was something. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So we end up going to Langley Junior. I end up going to Langley Junior High School. Peanut, Furman Childs went with me. Trent went with me, and we played in Langley. But Gino and Bobo didn't go because I think it was a neighborhood situation back then. Edgewood, Brentwood, Montana, different stuff like that, dealing with that. But with the Langley, we won 2 championships back to back, 64-0. Then actually, after I was leaving out of Langley, I didn't know where I wanted to go. I wanted to go to Dunbar because Coach Bucky was trying to recruit me, and I was going to go to McKinley. I didn't know where I wanted to go, but Kelvin Scarborough, man, we playing at Brentwood one day. They're at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Down there playing. We had the little tournament. We down there playing, and they like, "Man, where you gonna go?" And I was like, "I don't know, man. I don't know where I want to go." And then Bobo like, "Man, I'm going to Eastern." I was like, "Why are you gonna go to Eastern?" He said, "Man, Scarborough said we come there, we good." So I end up going to Eastern. Went over there and played 3 years. Did well up there. Semifinal championship game of UDC. I end up fracturing the inside of my ankle playing against Coolidge.
Mm-hmm.
So that shied a lot of college coaches away from me.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as them shying a lot of college coaches away from me, it was like, they still wanted me, but they wanted me to pay for the first year. And, my coach was like, well, Mr. Kanner was like, well, why don't you just go to a JUCO right now or county college and then play a year or 2 and then go. So I said, okay. So coach up in New Jersey called Cleo Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Cleo Hill was a bad boy. Whoever on this podcast need to Google him. He gave Oscar Robertson 35.
Mm-hmm.
So I got up there and well, actually, let me backtrack. When I left Langley, I ended up moving back with my mother.
Mm-hmm.
And when I moved back with my mother, I didn't know my mother was still on drugs.
Mm-hmm.
So when I moved back with her, I get over there and neighborhood people, everybody running around, nice gear on, and we struggling.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I come home one day and the lights ain't on.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? We eating bologna sandwich, ooze and noodles. I'm like, I can't live like this. But I ain't want to run back home to grandma
Mm-hmm.
like old,
Mm-hmm.
I had to man up like, man, what I need to do. But it was right outside my apartment, right on Lincoln Road, R Street.
Mm-hmm.
So no names calling, good dude, introduced me to it. Said, man, look, you want to make you some money?
Mm-hmm.
You want to stop wearing the same jeans every day? You want to stop wearing that? She said, I see you with that jacket on every day. You want to stop that? So when I'm looking at the dudes that's out there that's really making money, I mean, they sharp. They got their fila on. They driving cars. And you know me, I'm like 15 to 16 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I can't be running here bumming and not being successful, to me, because I'm starving really.
Mm-hmm.
So I end up getting in the game and all through high school. And I hustled, sold dope all night, and was at my 7 o'clock class. I had a routine.
Mm-hmm.
Go to my 7 o'clock class, do what I had to do at school, come home, do my homework. After practice, I go right on the block.
Mm-hmm.
I did this for all through high school.
Mm-hmm.
Then when I went to college, I ended up making a couple of connections up in New York and in Jersey. And I was still, hustling because once you get involved in selling dope and you making money, hard to get out.
It's an addiction.
It's no job that's gonna compare to that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as a young kid, I'm 15 years old, 16 years old, and I'm bringing in close to $2,000 a day, maybe 1,500. You know what I mean? But all I gotta do is just stay up at night.
Mm-hmm.
So after I done that, in college, made some connections. I was going back and forth. Then I came home for the summer, '86. Still doing the same thing. Had a good connection in California. Met with my connect one day. Supposed to take my girlfriend, Luther Vandross show. This time I got my own apartment in Top of the Hills apartment. And I'm actually I'm rushing because when you're a D-boy, your mind you ain't on the swivel, you just moving.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like you're on steroids because the money you get, the more money you want.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a pause to say, okay, no, I ain't gonna make this. It's not you're not thinking I ain't gonna do this right now. I'm gonna do this. It's like if the money's there, you gotta go get it. Because then somebody else might make that connection with it. So I end up rushing, taking the drugs over to my mother's house where I was living at, and on Lincoln Road, R Street, and I end up taking her to the show. When I get to the show, everybody calling my phone. You know what I mean? The phone ringing. You ain't had back in the day. You ain't had a pause, none of that.
Yeah.
I had the big gray joint with the antenna. I'm screwing the antenna on. I got the beeper in the phone, and I'm in the show. And they call me, and they let me know, man, look, they done ran up in your house. I said, ran up in our who house? Your mother's house. I was like, oh my goodness. The whole time I'm thinking like, I got my mom's in some mess, and I got her in this mess, and I got to try to get her out of it, right? So I end up going back round the way, call the phone. Fed's like, man, look at Curtis, we know it's you. Just come on up here, talk to her. I hang the phone up. So I hang the phone up and run. So I end up having to turn myself in and come down to it. We come to find out that they didn't come in the house for cocaine. They came in the house for PCP.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, my mom was actually, when I moved out and, she couldn't hit my stash or get free money from me and stuff like that. She started selling it, because she was still using. So she started selling and fly her habit. So when she did that, you know, we went to court. I ended up going to jail. Went to Lewisburg, Pennsylvania first. Then I came through Danbury. Then I went to Loretto, Pennsylvania. Then I ended up at Morgantown because I wanted to take classes so I could do something, you know, take trades so I could do something when I get out. Because in high school, when I was in Easton, I went to Easton and Phelps, and I took electrical house wiring in Phelps. So in when I was in jail, I took up electrical wiring there, and I got my welding certificate. So when I end up coming home, you know, you come home, I done paid all this money to my lawyers for me and my mom. And man, I'm talking about, you know, I had enough to take care of us while we was in there. But when I come home, I'm flat broke. When I mean broke, Andre, I'm talking about pulling the lint balls out my pocket. That's how broke I was. So I end up getting back over there on the block. You know what I mean? That's when crack cocaine came out. I'm like, what is this? You know, they like, man, this is what we selling in. Crack. I don't know nothing about no crack. I sold powder. I sold the white people drug, powder that you snort and whatever you did with it. You know what I mean? The cheap drug makes somebody to get high constantly. They sell their soul for the drug. When I mean sell their soul, they'll steal your mama car right up on you and 4 crackheads to pick that joint up and carry it down the street. This is how mean this drug was. So I ended up getting back in the game and got back into the game. I wasn't thinking about myself. I'm just thinking about, look here, I'm gonna get back in the game. I'm gonna make this money again, but I'm gonna do it a different way. I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna do it a different way. And next thing you know, my baby mother, I got back with her because I was with her before I left. Ended up getting back with her. Once I got back with her, she ended up pregnant, and so I give her the money, you know, for the abortion. And you know, I talk to my daughter about this all the time because I wasn't ready to have a child. I mean, I don't want to bring a child in this environment because if I go to jail, I'm gonna live out here by myself. Once I give her the money, about 8 months later, you know, a girlfriend called me, tell me that she didn't get rid of the baby. So I'm thinking, you done got all you took my money and went shopping and everything else, and you ain't even get the divorce. You know what I mean? And only reason I wanted to get an abortion because in that time of my life, mentally I wasn't ready for to have a kid. I'm like, how I'm gonna take care of a kid? I'm barely taking care of myself. So at that time, me and my man was, you know, we got good connections again. So we was doing a little something. We was making it. We was like, okay. We started talking about doing real estate, you know what I mean, buying some properties and stuff like that. Man, I come up to the hospital and I pulled Dominique out. I mean, because you know how they help you pull your own child out. And I pulled Dominique out, man. I don't know. It was something on me, man, that just say, man, hey, you need to get your shit together. You need to get your stuff together. That's what you need to do. And I'm sitting there looking at her like,
changed
what I'm going to do now? And then the thing is, I really had to go. It was just like a junkie. I had to go cold turkey. When I mean cold turkey, I had to. My partner, the money that we had saved up, the plans that we had saved, the connection, the drop that we just picked up 2 days ago. I had to actually tell him, man, nah, I can't take this no more. And you know, the average joker, they thinking you telling or whatever. Man, what you talking about? You can't do this move. Man, look here, I just had a daughter. Okay, Ann, what that got to do? You gonna make sure she gonna have this? I said, but if I get caught, she ain't gonna have none of this. I said, man, just take everything. And once you take everything, man, you know, take the money and all. I said, I'm gonna start fresh. So that's how I really actually got out the game. Because if it wasn't for Dominique, I don't know where I would be at right now. I mean, wasn't nobody telling me what to do, how to do it. I'm gonna do it my way regardless. That's all. That's the way I've been my entire life.
Right.
But I couldn't see her out here by herself. And what happened was baby mama ended up didn't want her no more. I mean, I used to go pick her up from the mother, and I come to the hallway. Dominique sitting outside the door with her bag. I said, man, we in the hood, and you got my daughter sitting in the hallway. My daughter 2 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So I went through a lot of that. So I ended up meeting a young lady, you know. After I end up getting custody of Dominique, which Tanya Bell, my ex, ended up helping me get custody of Dominique. Once I got custody, I was just like, I was working odd jobs. I was working construction. I worked at Ride On. I worked with Benny Nesbitt, you know, Bobby, you know, down the street from me, my cousin. I worked with him, and you know, he was doing the real estate thing. I worked with him, and I just did odd jobs until I can make it right. And when I was going through that, you know, my grandmother just kept saying, man, just keep pushing. It's gonna be all right. You're gonna be all right. Just keep pushing. Because I called and complained about it, but I'm not asking you for nothing. Because I need to do it by myself. I'm not asking you for nothing. So I end up, you know, pushing through, and she kept telling me, man, you're gonna be all right. So I end up applying for the fire department, Pepco, Metro. End up working with Bobby. I was working with Bobby and getting he was only could pay me $100 a week. I was surviving off $100 a week. I was living with my grandmother at that time, surviving off getting $100 a week. And next thing you know, Metro called. Once Metro called, I mean, I don't know if Miss Wood's still living, but she gave me the opportunity, and I explained her the situation. I explained to her that I want to take care of my child, make sure she's good with the benefits and everything like that. And once I took care of that with her, Miss Wood, she gave me the job, she gave me the opportunity. And once she gave me the opportunity, I went on from there. But as a part-time bus operator, you really can't, you know, make that much money. And you really can't actually provide like you want to. You know what I'm saying? And Dominique needed doctors. Dominique needed a place to stay. I'm like, I gotta do something else. So that's when I moved over to a custodian. Even on the custodian salary, when you're paying your rent, when you're paying your car note, when you're paying your health insurance, oh my God, man, when you're paying your light bill, when you're paying your clothes, man, I mean, bills come from everywhere and they don't stop coming. So my mentality will say, man, I put my D-boy game on, look here, I need to get another gig. I get me something at night and do something during the day. And I don't know why, I don't know how I did it. I don't know how I did it, Andre. I just did it. People be asking, man, how you do it? I said, man, I just looked at my daughter like, I gotta do it. I mean, my motto of sleeping was 2 hours in the evening and 2 hours in the morning. And that was it. And I slept off that for a long time. I mean, for a long time. I just had to cut out the partying. I had to cut out, you know, hanging with a lot of bras. Had to cut out running the streets. I had to cut all that back. But it was for her. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I didn't have a choice. You know what I mean? So I had to do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I thank God he put me in that position. So he put me in a position so I don't have no free time. Because even if I had a job and I had that free time, I still probably would have dipped and dabbed. You know what I'm saying? And probably end up getting caught up. But he put me in a situation where I didn't have that time. So my time was work, Dominique, work. Work, Dominique, work. Work, Dominique, work. And if I got a day off, sleep. Man, go in the house, take your sip, take a nice hot bath, go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
And I would sleep about 12 hours. You know what I mean? Before I actually woke up again when I got that opportunity.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So now it paid off. I end up getting a job with Verizon, which it was Dell Atlantic back then. And it just worked for me.
Right.
I mean,
right.
the 8 hours during the day, I mean, I went to work at Verizon from 7:30 to 4. And that's the time Dominique was in school.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to Metro from 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
So it actually worked for me. I just had to make sure she was somewhere when um, I was working. She
Right.
had to be somewhere when I was working.
Right.
And when I was working at night, I would take her to my aunt's house or my grandmother's house, and they'd keep her for me, And then, like, if I get off work 5 in the morning, I just pull up in that driveway. I take a nap.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
I take a nap. She got to be to the before care at 7:30. I mean at 7 o'clock. So I get her to the before care at 7 o'clock. I got to be to work at 7:30. I mean,
Right.
it just, he put me in a good position that it worked. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right. So Curtis, let me ask you a question. Why are you talking about that? Because now that you're talking about the transit authority, I remember back in the day, you and I laugh about this now, but I remember back in the day, jokers used to call me and say, man, all the time, you told me, they would call me, Andre, man, you need to come get your folks, man. I said, what happened? Man, he just cussed me out. This is supervisors now, right?
Right.
He just called me. He just cussed me out. I said, what? I called Curtis. I said, Curtis, what you doing? He said, man, I was sleeping, man. Why they waking me up? Look, here you are on the job, and you talk about why they waking me up. So let's talk about that a little bit, because I remember talking to you and kind of breathing some knowledge into you at the time, because I told you what I saw in you. I remember telling you, I said, Curtis, I said, man, you have the spirit of being a leader. I said, you got to cut that street stuff out when you're talking while you're at Metro, dealing
Right.
with Metro employees. And Curtis said, oh man, F them, man. Ain't no way. I'm not gonna do that. I don't want to be that. I said, Curtis, I'm telling you who you can be. Next thing I know, Curtis is supervisor, right? And he's
Right.
changing lives of his employees because of his spirit and who he became as a leader. So those type of things I was talking about when you and I, those type of things that you and I used to talk about all the time. And I
Right.
can see where you matured in your life and have grown in your life. Because so many people nowadays will, even working with the authority right now, will say, man, how your folks doing? I said, man, he doing great. He
Right.
didn't flip that street to a W-2, champ. And
Right.
one thing for sure, and two things for certain, is when I talk to young men, I use you as an example because it can be done.
Right.
Right. And let me just ask you, Kurt, growing up, man, you didn't have a father in your life, right?
Right.
Who were the people that helped you navigate, man, the rough waters? Because you had to have somebody to fall back on, that you trusted, with your what for what you were going through. Who were those
Right.
folks? Who were those men that helped you along the way?
Man, Andre, I ain't had no men.
Mm-hmm.
Only person I had was my grandmother. I just followed her example.
Mm-hmm.
My grandmother worked every day. She get up 4 in the morning. She go to work at the hot shop
Mm-hmm.
before it was the Marriott.
Mm-hmm.
She go get up 4 in the morning. She got to be to work at 6. She worked from 6 to 6 every day.
Mm-hmm.
She went to Bible study and choir rehearsal on Wednesday,
Mm-hmm.
and went to church on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I seen her do.
Right.
I ain't see my grandmother go to no concerts. I ain't see my grandmother go to no shows. no movies, none of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I seen. But when I did follow the example of my aunt's husband, Arthur, when I seen him and the way he took care of my aunt, and he's not a talker,
Mm-hmm.
he's a doer. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? So it's different when somebody could tell you something,
Mm-hmm.
you ain't showing me nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But I used to see it with him the way he took care of my aunt. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, he took care of my aunt to the fullest, you know what I mean? And I followed in his footsteps as far as, how to treat a woman, you know what I mean,
Mm-hmm.
how to respect a woman and
Mm-hmm.
things like that because I seen him. But as
Mm-hmm.
far as a man just actually sitting me down and talking to me and, and coaching me all along, no, I know how to follow good examples. I know
Mm-hmm.
what's good and what's not good. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? So I
Mm-hmm.
seen that in him, and I seen that in my grandmother. That's all I went by
Yeah.
because
So go ahead. I'm sorry.
my mother or my father wasn't in my life. Neither one
Mm-hmm.
of
Mm-hmm.
them. You know what I
So
mean?
yeah, that's the reason why I thought this was a good avenue, this podcast, man, for us to talk about it because ultimately we have to figure this thing out, right?
Right,
To help our young boys, young men, um, help them navigate the rough waters.
right.
So this is the reason why I put this together. Um, and I know you said Dominique changed your life. That was when your trajectory changed
Yes,
because it was just you then when Dominique came. But
yes,
this is the reason why I speak about this because we all have something in our lives that change our trajectory in life. And
right,
as we get older, I'm starting to look back and see our young men they lost. I
right,
see a lot of men who abandon their families,
right,
even though they have rough times with their ex or their ex-wife or their ex-friend, whoever they were with. If they had kids with them, there's no reason for them to abandon their kids because they didn't ask to come here,
right,
right? So
right.
that's why I take my hat off to you because you had That's all I get that image of you walking away from me with Dominique on your back with a backpack, saying,
Right,
"I got this."
right.
And to see where you have come to where you are today, I salute you, brother. I salute you, and you
I
know what type of
appreciate it.
bond we have. I know we have a tight group, and it's just a few people that you let inside your circle. Do you want to speak a little bit about them because they have also, help you navigate the waters as well? When you
Oh,
talk about your tight group of men that you have in your life right now.
oh yeah. Well, I keep my circle small. I can say you are one of the ones that you used to keep me calm because I ain't had good sense, especially when I came home from jail.
Hmm.
I ain't had I can talk. You can call me and we can talk, and I would say, all right, Dre.
Hmm.
Somebody else call me, hey, on my off my phone.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that's the bond with that. Also, Warren Matthews.
Rest in peace.
I, I miss my brother, man.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm tearing up about him because we was really tight,
Hmm.
and when I mean really tight, we'd cuss each other out to the
Hmm.
dog. His wife be looking at us like it's crazy, like, what's wrong with y'all food? But we'd never touch each other. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
So we'd never, and he's gone, man, too soon, man.
Right.
And his daughter and his both his sons, man, and his grandson. I'm gonna send you some pictures of them. Man,
Hmm.
they prosper.
That's
They
good.
represent them very very well.
Right.
Let me get off him because I'm boo-hooing about him.
Right.
I got Delonte Teller,
Hmm.
um, older cat. You don't think he like that, but he ain't like that. I used to bust him. Pop. He couldn't touch me. Everybody else thought he was like that. I was busting. But talk real good to each other, man. And since he a little older, so he was a little wiser when I used to do stuff, get into stuff, and me and Bo Reed over Eastern,
Mm-hmm.
cutting up, doing stupid stuff. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And
Mm-hmm.
he was a very inspiration. Then I got Benny. We grew up together from the first grade, second grade, all our lives. Man, we played ball together in the alley, everything. Great dude, man. Man, got great dude. Then I got Donnie Hawkins. That's a joker used to play at Emory. First time I met him, I snatched the ball from him and told him, give me the basketball. And we had a relationship. We really got close. We always was close, but we really got close when I was incarcerated. And when I was incarcerated, I called the house. I had a young lady I was dealing with, and I asked him for his number. And I ended up calling the house. Once I called the house, his grandmother was like, Bowlicker Curves on the phone. You need to take this phone call. And he's like, man, grandmother ain't take no collect calls from nobody but you.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a real bond after that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I got, I mean, these the guys that's been in my life. Y'all been in my life, man, and I could call today, and if something wrong, y'all gonna be there. You know what I
Right.
mean? And
Right.
I think that's what these young guys, they don't have no more. They don't have no loyalty. They don't have no bond. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I think it's just not in them. And I just think they don't know how to show love to another man. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with telling the man, I love you, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or something
Right.
like that. And they don't have that. So my little group right there, that's what I have in them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I could call anytime, regardless. I don't care where I'm at. I could call either one of y'all anytime.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I could
Right.
be locked up in Mexico. Andre,
Right.
what's up, man? Man, I'm locked up. What? What you locked up? What would you do? Man, I'm in
Right.
Mexico though. Man, get some of your Puerto Rican friends or Mexican friends come get me. You know?
Right.
So, that's how that is, man. And I love y'all brothers to death, man. And I love talking to y'all. And every time we talk, it's always about smiles.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We don't
Right.
never talk about anything negative. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's always laughing and joking. You know what I mean? And I
Right.
love that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
One thing for sure and two things for certain, Curtis, and I spoke about this with Stan on the previous interview. You really don't know who your friends are until you walk through that fire. You know what I'm saying? Those are the friends going to be by you. They're going to walk through that fire with you.
Right.
And it's not, and just like you and I, it's not how many times we talk. It's not how many times we see each other. It's when we hook back up is when we
Right.
catch up. You and I can go 6 months without talking to each other. But when we talk to each other, we're going to talk to each other for a couple hours, right? Laugh, cry. We're going to joke. We're going to do everything and we're going to catch up. And that's what friendship is all about. And you most definitely have been one of my friends. You're one of my deepest friends that, you know my story. And you know the fire that I've been through, and you have walked through the coals with me. So I want to thank you, man. And finally, brother, I just want to say this. I remember you and I laugh about this again, right? When I told you I was getting married, you said, what? Get my hammer. I'm gonna knock you in your head, man. There's no way. I ain't never getting married. Are you crazy? I'm never getting married, Andre. Ever.
Right.
I remember telling you, I said, don't ever say never.
Right.
I said, there's
That's
somebody
right.
for somebody. Somebody for somebody.
Right.
So a few years later, I get this phone call, right? I get this phone call from Curtis. He said, Eyes are married now. I said, what? He said, yeah. He said, Eyes are married. I said, when? He said, man, I did it, man. He said, I done found my queen and I got married, man. I was elated. And I said to myself, I said, I knew it because I knew somebody. It's somebody for everybody. And you just had to meet that special person, that special woman, man, to match your character.
That's
because trust and believe me, not too many women can match your character.
Yeah,
right? They can't stand that fire. But this woman here has most definitely withstood the fire. She has adapted to who you are, and you have adapted to who she is.
Yeah.
And I just want to give a shout out to her, man, Monica, because she keeps you stable as well.
Right.
She keep
Right.
you
Well, the
instead of
thing is, so
going from. Go ahead.
when you in, I never thought I would fall in love.
Mm-hmm.
I love, but it's a different when you fall in love.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to a young lady I went to college with, and you know how women call you back and they ask you questions, stuff like that. And I told her, I said, man, this is the only woman I've ever been faithful to
Mm-hmm.
in my life. I've never been faithful.
Mm-hmm.
I said, so when I tried to be faithful before I married her, because I made sure I was faithful before I married her,
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't want to get into a marriage and wasn't faithful and didn't know how to be faithful.
Mm-hmm.
So before I married her, I did that for a year.
Mm-hmm.
Made sure I was faithful for a year, doing what I was supposed to do. And I was like, if I could do this, I'm in love with this one.
Mm-hmm.
I knew I was in love with her because I think about I think about her feelings. I think about her all the time. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So I fell in love.
Right.
I never fell in love before. So I think that's why I said, I'm married now.
Eyes are married.
I'm married now.
Hey, look, it most definitely had changed your life, man. And in addition, your grandkids. Tell me, man, what it feel like. I know that you have grandkids, and then to have now a grandson, because you didn't have a son. Now
Right.
to have a grandson is special to you. I know Don mentioned that, you take that boy like it's yours now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to
Yeah.
have a grandson, and now to show your grandson how a man is supposed to treat a woman, what a man is
Right.
really about, is
Right.
really, really special. So do you want to talk a little bit about them, man, your grandkids, and what they have done for you?
Man, I just, only thing about talking about them, I just want to make sure I'm here for them. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
'Cause all our times we had for century already,
Mm-hmm.
plus. So we on the down end.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to make sure, man, that they good. I want to make sure that they didn't have to come up like me. You know what I'm saying? And worry about who got their back. You know what I'm saying? Man, my grandkids, woo, boy, don't touch them. Please don't touch them. Please
Mm-hmm.
don't touch them. I mean, I love them to death. I mean,
Right.
especially this grand boy. She ain't gonna have once.
Mhm.
I already told her I might retire just to hang out with him. Once he
Right.
start walking and talking and just to say, "Hey, Grandpa, where we going?"
Mhm.
All right, we going. But
Mhm.
look, look, they done brung him to me. Look, they done brung him
Yeah.
to me. Look,
What's up, little man?
little Curtis. This is little
Yeah.
Curtis. This is
Little
little
Kurt.
Curtis right here.
Uh-huh.
Look at
That's
him.
what's up.
Look at him.
That's
You
what's
see Uncle Andre?
look. He trying to get busy.
Yeah, he tried. He ready to press some buttons.
Hey man,
But
look, that's
I thank my daughter for having grandkids for me so I can raise them. I mean, because my grandfather wasn't that great of a grandfather.
mm-hmm.
I mean, I loved him, but he was a drunk. He was an alcoholic. He didn't really show me anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just trying to break the cycle. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? I want to
Right.
show him how to be a man, how to treat a woman,
Mm-hmm.
get your education, go to school.
Mm-hmm.
Don't say no. Don't say you can't.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, and I want to be there for him for that, and my granddaughter.
Well, that's great,
You know what I
man.
mean?
That's outstanding, Kurt. Lastly, man, let me just say this. What do you think we can do as men, Kurt, to help our younger brothers out? Because ultimately what I would like, and I'm gonna circle back to Stan and everybody that I interviewed, just to put our heads together, man. If we got to go into these schools to reach our younger men, then that's what we're gonna have to do. Because I would like to put together a panel, man, that we can at least go around and talk to our younger generation just to help them navigate. If they want to reach out, they can reach out to us to help them navigate this life, because that's what we're gonna need to do. But if you have any suggestions, man, what do you think we need to do? You mentioned some very key points. We as men, we walk by each other, we don't speak, right? We don't show no love. We
Right.
like crab. We like crabs in the basket. Sometimes when we see other men being successful, we jealous. We want to talk about them instead of
Right.
praising them and helping them out.
Right.
So, what do you think we need to do, brother? As far as just helping our younger generation out.
I think I don't know how we should do it, but I think we should find a way to try to change the attitude of these kids.
Mm-hmm.
The attitude is screwed up.
Mm-hmm.
They already in their mindset is just like hatred. You know what I mean? It's hate, and I can't say they wrong because I haven't walked in their shoes. So I don't know what they're going through, and
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just their generation. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? And then as far as the Facebook and
Instagram and all.
text,
Mm-hmm.
they really don't have a chance to communicate. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? It's like with us when we was coming up, we had to communicate. I couldn't just text you and say, "Man, what's up?"
Right.
And sometimes I call you on the phone busy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to say how. I just think we need to find a way how to change their attitude and
Right.
change and let them know that, man, it's twice as hard out here for us than anyone as
Mm-hmm.
black men,
Mm-hmm.
because the other Europeans, they don't want to see a strong black man,
Mm-hmm.
because you can look at it, basketball, football, golf, anything we put our hands on and we get to it, we take over
Mm-hmm.
because that's our smart and that's our energy.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think we need to find a way how to change their attitude towards being positive instead of just. I mean, even sometimes, man, I go out and me and my wife might go in a restaurant and you see a young dude, he at the door, he open the door, he just walk right in the door.
Right.
It's just a basic respect that they don't have, and
Right.
I don't know where it's coming from because I just don't know. I
Well,
think it's just their generation.
yeah, but also, and this is what I talked about at the top of the interview, Curtis, is that most of them don't have the males in their home, right?
Right, but the thing is though, Andre, just because you don't have a male in your home, you have to seek out for positive things.
Right.
What's positive? What's negative? You know what
Right.
I'm saying? You have to
Yeah.
have that mentality of I don't want to be on the negative side. I want to be okay. Let me see. Okay, well, why did he open the door for her?
Mm-hmm.
And be a young man and say, well, why was that happening? That's the amount of respect. That's how you're supposed to treat your queens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even,
Absolutely.
even
I'm
if
in.
you black, even if they black, white, Chinese, whatever. That's how you treat a woman. You
Yeah.
know what
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. Absolutely. But most of them don't have that aptitude to observe. It's almost like they have to see it, in their home and have to be
Right,
times you need that male to navigate you through it. Most of them don't know that. They don't know
right,
that like when you walk in on the sidewalk that your lady's supposed to be on the inside of you,
right.
right?
They don't
They
know that.
won't.
And that's
Yeah.
just the basic. They don't
Yeah.
have the basics.
Nah,
You
they
know what I
don't.
mean? They don't have
Yes.
the basics when you sitting on the subway and they sitting down and the lady sitting up there holding her bag. They
Right.
just sit there. They
Right.
don't have the basics to say, okay, well, ma'am, come sit down.
Right.
You know what I mean? And,
Right.
and just sit down and relax yourself. And
Right.
that's just basic. Well, that's basic stuff that my grandmother taught
Right.
me.
Right.
Not a man had to teach me that. I'm just talking about basic respect for women.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Yeah. Absolutely, man. Well, look, I appreciate you coming on, brother. Your story is a journey for sure. And I always, just like I said, I always talk about you when I talk to other young men and I counsel them, because they oftentimes get discouraged.
Right,
And when I counsel them and I tell them about your story, it's almost a light bulb go off,
right,
and they say, "I can do it. I can
right,
do it." And oftentimes I just tell them, "Call me," because most of the time that's all they need is somebody to talk to. Just like
right,
when I used to talk to you, calm you
right,
down.
right,
That's all they need sometimes.
right,
And
right,
so we as men, we need to be proactive as far as saving our younger generation, because that's when it's going to change. Yes, we can change some of our old men now, but you know, we stuck in our own ways. But we need to reach our younger generation, and I see exactly what you have done and continue to do. Your legacy does still live on within the authority for sure. It was very impactful because you helped so many young men become supervisors and other things. So I just want to take my hat off to you, brother, because you and I most definitely have a bond that will never be broken. And I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming on, man, and sharing your story. And
I appreciate you, Peter Green.
The
new Peter Green.
Right. Hey, look at it.
Appreciate you, the new Peter Green. Yeah.
Hey, look. Remember when you first said that, boy? We died on the phone for about 20 minutes.
The new Peter Green out here, buddy. 2021 Peter Green.
Hey, join PFW. No, I appreciate you, brother. And look, give Monica and everybody my love, man, and tell them I said thank you. Thank you for sharing, at least still continuing to share you with me, because they do realize how our bond means so much to us. So thank you, brother. I appreciate you, man.
All right, tell the wife and the baby girl I said hello, man, and keep on moving, man. You're gonna be successful, champ. Watch what I tell you.
I appreciate it, Kurt. You know, I always know I got your support for sure.
Right. Yeah, I'll be right there.
Look, you be like, who you want me to slap? You want me to slap it, man? That's another story.
Right, that's another story at another time.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, brother. I love you, man.
Hey, man. Love you too, man.
All right, brother.
Peace out.
All right, lady.